We begin to follow Jesus' story this morning in the Gospel, according to Luke chapter 1, verses 39 to 56. In those days, Mary set out and went with haste to a Judean town in the hill country, where she entered the house of Zechariah and greeted Elizabeth. When Elizabeth heard Mary's greeting, the child leaped in her womb, and Elizabeth was filled with the Holy Spirit and exclaimed with a loud cry, "Blessed are you among women, and blessed is the fruit of your womb. And why has this happened to me, that the mother of my Lord comes to me? For as soon as I heard the sound of your greeting, the child in my womb leaped for joy. And blessed is she who believes that there would be a fulfillment of what was spoken to her by the Lord." And Mary said, "My soul magnifies the Lord, and my spirit rejoices in God, my Savior. For he has looked with favor on the lowliness of his servant. Surely from now on all generations will call me blessed, for the Mighty One has done great things for me, and holy is his name. His mercy is for those who fear him from generation to generation. He has shown strength with his arm. He has scattered the proud in the thoughts of their hearts. He has brought down the powerful from their thrones and lifted up the lowly. He has filled the hungry with good things and sent the rich away empty. He has helped his servant Israel in remembrance of his mercy, according to the promise he made to our ancestors, to Abraham and to his descendants forever." And Mary remained with her about 3 months and then returned to her home. This is the word of God.
The second reading this morning comes from the book of Isaiah. We're going to be reading out of Isaiah all Advent long. It's very exciting. And this time we're in chapter 11, verses 1 through 10. "A shoot shall come out from the stump of Jesse, and a branch shall grow out of his roots. The Spirit of the Lord shall rest on him, the Spirit of understanding, the Spirit of counsel and might, the Spirit of knowledge and fear of the Lord. His delight shall be in the fear of the Lord. He shall not judge by what his eyes see or decide by what his ears hear, but with righteousness he will judge the poor and decide with equity for the meek of the earth. He shall strike the earth with the rod of his mouth, and with the breath of his lips he shall kill the wicked. Righteousness shall be the belt around his waist, and faithfulness the belt around his loins. The wolf shall live with the lamb. The leopard shall lie down with the kid. The calf and the lion and the fatling together, and the little child shall lead them. The cow and the bear shall graze. Their young shall lie down together, and the lion will eat straw like an ox. The nursing child will play over the hole of the asp, and the weaned child shall put its hand on the adder's den. They will not hurt or destroy in all my holy mountain, for the earth will be full of the knowledge of the Lord, as the water covers the sea. On that day the root of Jesse shall stand as a signal to the people. The nations shall inquire of him, and his dwelling shall be glorious." Friends, this is the word of God. So here we are now on the second week of Advent. We've got 2 candles going. And we're continuing to hear about what Isaiah saw. Remember in Isaiah chapter 2 that we read last week, it said the vision that Isaiah saw. Not what he heard or received, but what he saw. And we're trying to join with him in seeing and imagining the vision of God's promise for God's people that he saw. So last week we talked about abundance, about how a relatively small mountain where the temple was located in Jerusalem, the size of Mount Wachusett almost, would be raised up to become this enormous mountain that people could see from all over and come to from all over the earth. We imagine the transformation of swords and spears, instruments of war, and used to protect the power of a few into plowshares and pruning hooks, instruments of agriculture that provide for many. A beautiful vision made possible by the presence of God among the people here on earth. Today's reading continues with more beautiful and familiar images. Have you heard this passage before? The wolf shall lie down with the lamb, the calf, and the lion. They're going to hang out. And a little child is not going to be afraid of poisonous snakes. It's fine. The child's going to lead it all. It all begins with this image, a metaphor of a little green shoot springing out of the stump of Jesse. Jesse is a man's name here, so yeah. He was the ancestor of King David, right? So we often read Isaiah as laying out a vision of a leader, a king like the best all-time king Israel ever had, King David. And this new ruler Isaiah sees will be filled with the Spirit of God, which we'll know because of the way they use their wisdom and understanding, their ability to counsel their people, their strength in making decisions, and their knowledge and delight in God. The hallmarks of this new ruler will be justice and righteousness. Righteousness is a word that's used in the Bible a lot that's not really common in English outside of it, right? There was like that brief moment in like maybe the 90s when it was like a slang word, you know, righteous, dude, yeah, right? But that's kind of it. We know it often comes with justice, right? Justice and righteousness seem to go together, but what exactly does it mean? We have a sense it's about personal piety, maybe about someone's ability to do what is morally correct or right, the ability of individuals to follow laws, maybe. In the Old Testament, though, it's more than that. Righteousness in the Bible is always a response to a relationship people have with God. And it does have to do with how people act, but not because they're trying to follow the rules or be a better person. Rather, we are righteous and we care about the people around us. My Old Testament professor in seminary translated the Hebrew word for righteousness as social solidarity. And I think it's really true. It's what we see in this vision from Isaiah. The new ruler that Isaiah sees uses their power to be concerned not about the super PACs and the lobbyists, but to be concerned about the poor and the meek, right? Judging based on equity. This new ruler Isaiah sees uses their power to change the systems that oppress the poor and vulnerable and to give preference to those who would usually just be left out. If you think also to Mary's song that Linda read this morning, it was all about this idea of righteousness as social solidarity. Imagine for a second that you are married, okay? You're an unmarried teenage girl. Some of you are that right now, so it's not too hard. And an angel, okay, appears to you and tells you you're going to have a baby. Yikes. And it's going to be God's child. The heck? And instead of having the reaction that I obviously would have had, Mary gets this on some way deeper level. She knows Isaiah's vision. She can see it. And she knows her child is going to continue the work of righteousness that Isaiah lays out, scattering the proud, bringing down the powerful, lifting up the lowly, filling the hungry with good things, and sending the rich away empty. The tables have been turned, and nothing is going to run like it used to. Back in Isaiah, that vision of righteousness that completely changes what we have known extends beyond the halls of power, beyond the courtroom or the Oval Office, to all of the created world. Natural-born enemies, okay, the wolf and the lamb, are just chilling together. This is great. No one, God says, no one will hurt or destroy. No one, not even the predator, which we kind of take for granted, needs to hunt its prey in order to live, right? Have you ever seen a nature documentary? Nature, this is how it works. This is kind of a huge transformation. Think of what it would take in order for a baby lamb or a little calf to be safe around a lion. The baby animals belong firmly in that prey category. They are lion food, 100%. That is how things work. Or so we thought. Think of the places of enmity in our world today. Those who have become prey of prejudice and racism, of corporate greed, of environmental exploitation, of police brutality, and just imagine what it would take to transform our world into a place where it would be safe for victim and predator to sit comfortably together. After all, isn't it in a way the right of the lion to eat or the wolf to hunt? A transformation on this scale is going to take some major investment, rights and equity for those who have not benefited from the systems of this world. It would take social solidarity. And so here we are in Advent, waiting for the birth of Jesus, who will be the answer to this vision, right? King David is firmly situated there in Jesus' own lineage. Jesus must surely be the one grounded in the Spirit of God who will judge with equity and establish this peaceable kingdom. Mary's song seems to support this idea. And so, is that it? I guess what I'm asking is, are we still waiting? Is that kind of all there is to do? It's important, I think, to remember the context of Isaiah, especially this chapter, of Isaiah's original audience. If you remember, we were talking about this last week. Things were bad. The nation was being drained of resources by the local kind of power, the Assyrians. They were being bullied and taken advantage of, and when they tried to stand up for themselves, they lost everything. Their homes, their temple, everything was destroyed. This whole vision of a transformed world of justice and righteousness begins with a stump. Stump. This strong, old growth, very formidable tree. The people's faith in their leaders, in their own ability to save themselves, it had been lopped off, just like a Christmas tree at the lot. All that remained of their confidence, of their hope, of the ways they had known, is a stump. A shoot is springing up, that's true, there will be new growth, maybe a branch or two if the weather is right, if it doesn't get trampled on. This defiant shoot is almost laughable. Its weakness in the midst of desolation doesn't really inspire confidence. And yet we kind of find ourselves in the same kind of situation, don't you think? The systems, the institutions that we had relied on in our society, government, churches, higher education, all of these things are being, holes are being poked in them. We don't trust them like we used to. The things we thought might save us from pain and suffering are constantly being undercut. Pillars of our democracy just lopped off, and we wander through a field of stumps, arguing with each other about how or when or if we should even try to grow them back into trees. In the midst of this kind of confusion, as we lose faith in the people in traditional positions of power, Isaiah's vision is exactly what we need to see. Often when we read this passage, we think Isaiah is telling us about a new king. Probably because of the mention of Jesse's lineage, right? A kingly family. It primes us to hear it. But really, the word king doesn't occur in this passage at all. And so, instead of sitting back, waiting for a someday king to appear and embody these characteristics of the Spirit of God, making everything right for the poor and oppressed and transforming the world into a place of peace and friendship, instead of expecting someone else to do this, I believe that God has given each one of us the gifts of justice and righteousness right now. Within each of us live the gifts of God's Spirit, the potential for wisdom and understanding, counsel and might, knowledge and delight in the ways of God. The shoot that springs up from the dying, cut-off stump, that's you and me. That's us. And where one tiny shoot in a field of cut-down trees is not so promising, 1,000 shoots springing up are a promise, a force that will yield fruit in season. It's not only a future promise, but a vision of what is possible now that Isaiah shows us. And we've seen it come to life before. It will continue to be true when we work for justice and solidarity, when a little child leads us. Just imagine Ruby Bridges, a brave African-American girl who desegregated her elementary school in 1960. A little child shall lead them. Or Greta Thunberg continuing to commit to speak up for this planet, for the future of her generation, even though powerful adults have to bully her on social media. A little child. Maybe Isaiah's vision didn't just appear out of nowhere. Maybe it took hard work to get to the place where the lion and the lamb could lay down together. Maybe it took hard work. That doesn't mean what he sees is impossible. This Advent, we wait for Christmas, and we wait for a baby to be born. But, spoiler alert, he already was. It happened. Mary's confidence in her response to God, even before that baby was born, she says, the Most High has already done this. God has worked in our world for justice and righteousness, and God will continue to do this work with us, because we have been given the gifts of justice and of righteousness. So the question is, what will we do with the gifts we have been given? Will they be the gifts that kind of linger under the tree in a gift bag until we can figure out how to re-gift them to someone else? Will they be stuffed in the back of a drawer somewhere? We feel kind of bad about throwing them out because somebody gave it to us. Or will we put them to use? Will we hold our own ability to care for others, to advocate for those in the system that's stacked against them? Will we sit back, or will we be the ones who show up? Will we sigh and just hope for a community of peace? Oh, someday. Or will we transform our own lives so that we might live peacefully with those who before were nearly consumed by our appetites? I know we just kind of want to think about Christmas lights and wrapping paper right now. I really do too, but I think there are more important gifts that we have to consider. Jesus is coming, and we have received gifts in abundance. Each one of us has been given the Spirit of God. All of us. Sorry, nobody gets out. Everybody's got it. Each one of us is capable of making a difference. And not only that, but each one of us is essential in the transformation of this world, broken by sin, by pain and oppression and despair, into the place of righteousness and peace that Isaiah saw. Can we see it too?